Working with Compassion International has helped Graystone Church reach our mission of knowing God and making God known. The purpose of Compassion is to release children from poverty in the name of Jesus. Compassion accomplishes this through connecting with churches in the U.S. and churches in poverty-stricken communities around the world. 8 years ago, we hosted a Compassion Sunday at Graystone Church, and we gave our members the opportunity to sponsor children living in poverty, and we partnered with a church in Juticalpa, Honduras. Over the last 8 years, we have sponsored over 1,100 children. As you can imagine, we've been able to impact those kids and their families in the name of Jesus. But what we didn't realize is how we would impact our families at Graystone Church. As some of you know, when you go on a mission trip to a foreign country, the trip ends up impacting you as much or more than those in the foreign country. This is what we've experienced with Compassion. Our families are living on mission because they are participating in the Great Commission and seeing lives change for all eternity. If you and your church would like to partner with Compassion International, I highly recommend hosting a Compassion Sunday at your church. To find out more about hosting a Compassion Sunday, go to compassion.com/familygoals. Again, you can find out more information at compassion.com/familygoals. Welcome to another episode of the Family Goals Podcast with David Pollack and Pastor J. Today, I helped David on the podcast write a speech that he is giving soon.
I didn't realize you helped, but okay.
I gave you some advice. I mean, put in some humor, put in some stories.
It wasn't helpful. Nobody ever needs perfect or wants perfect. It's funny when we do the EA Sports recording, which is a video game, like the ones that we stumble sometimes are like, that's good. We'll leave that because it makes it sound human.
It's more human, more real.
Because nobody's going to be like a freaking computer
and
just rattle it off and be perfect. Like that's just not.
You're not getting replaced by an AI bot?
Not yet. I'm sure it's coming.
Because they could totally match your voice.
Oh, they can do all kinds of stuff.
And then say whatever they want to say.
Which is crazy.
So, what's up in David Pollack's world?
Nothing much, man. What's up in Pastor J's world? I know we're not playing golf because this is way too cold.
Oh, man. It's like the flood's coming. I don't know if we need to build a boat or what, but it's freezing. It's cold. When I was driving over here, I saw that you were like in a floodplain.
Yeah, there's a lot of water
over here
out
in
there.
the Gratis area. There was just water everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. I couldn't. I haven't talked anybody into playing golf with me lately.
I hadn't played in a while.
But I think this afternoon is supposed to heat up a little bit. It's supposed to not rain anymore.
So I got a tea time tomorrow if you want to join me. Friday.
What time are we playing?
1:20.
1:20. So you go late afternoon, so it's a little warmer?
It's a little warmer, yeah. Get something done in the morning.
This is why I've always said, the better athletes are always in the South, because you can't go outside and play up north. You literally have months of the country where it's 6. I'm thankful. I'm very thankful we live down here. This is...
Yeah, I mean...
Because last week it was 65 and 70.
Yeah.
Sunday I was like, dude, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's warmth. It's warm.
There is no golf going on up north right now.
20-mile march. They got to do their 20-mile march.
They have the simulator.
Hey, I'm thinking about the simulator hard. I'm thinking about pulling the trigger.
You got to get one.
I got a couple of buddies who said they would get down on that, and then we have the perfect space for it out in the gym that we could use. So I'm thinking about pulling the trigger. Think about going ahead and getting one. Hey guys, come over. We'll play Augusta.
Let's do it.
I didn't say you. I didn't invite you. Hold on. Chill, bro.
Pastor J did all he could do to try to invite himself on this trip out to Pebble Beach, and I ended up not making it.
Yeah.
But how was Pebble Beach?
It was fantastic. It was good. We had an extra spot too. You should have came. It was perfect. No.
I went through you, and then I would try to go through Whitaker. I got nothing. I got nowhere with either one.
It's the cool. I've played a lot of the good golf courses in the country. Not a lot, a couple. I played Augusta, which is awesome. It's unbelievable. But Cypress Point was the prettiest thing I've ever seen.
Is that right there by Pebble?
Yes.
Okay.
I've never seen. It looks like Avatar, the movie. It doesn't look real. And the coolest thing about the course is the first 6 holes looks very much like Augusta, pristine. like the hills, the way it's designed, it looks like it. Grass, beautiful. The rough is beautiful. Everything's beautiful.
Is it on the water, on the ocean?
Well, that's what I'm telling you. Like, so the next 6 are
Okay.
tucked in like this little mountain, but every outside of the fairway is sand.
Okay.
Everything.
Yeah.
So like par 4, you miss the fairway, you're in the sand. And like the greens, there are no like you go for the stick. It's a lot of times it's sloped so much, like you'll have to throw it up, 70 feet to the right, and it'll just filter down, towards the hole. And so
You have a caddy telling you where to hit it?
yes,
Okay.
thank God.
Yeah.
Like otherwise I'd shoot 180.
Yeah.
But then the last 6 are all on the water.
Okay.
And I'm talking about water, like there's a par 4 that's 255. It's all over water and absolutely gorgeous, but you can lay up at like 100 to 150 or 100 to 180, or you can just go straight for it. But ocean in front, ocean behind, ocean all around, like
That is so
absolute.
cool.
I mean, it doesn't look real. Like it looks very fake. It's crazy.
Whitaker showed me a video of you up on kind of like you're on this mountain of sand.
By the way, that's a par 3.
And he said, I saw you had your putter out. You were
Yeah.
like putting it off this sand hill.
I like it
down
because
to
Whitaker also narrated it, which he does as well as anybody. Because
Oh, yeah.
our buddy Jeff is one of the funniest dudes you've ever met. And he was
He
like,
was calling you an orangutan or
no,
something.
no, he was not. He was calling me a silverback. There's a difference, okay? There's a big difference in an orangutan and a silverback. But
You look more like a gorilla.
he goes, we found a silverback here at Cypress Point. And then he goes, oh, look, he's got a putter. What's he going to do? And I did. I was up like 14 feet, like straight through beach sand. It's just, I told you, desert sand down to the green. And if you get it on the green, it's gone. So I was like, I asked my caddy, I'm like, can I putt this? And he was like, yeah. And I mean, so I literally putted it down the sand right to the fringe. And then you just kind of putt it again. Like, it's gorgeous. It's one of Cypress Point. It's one of the craziest golf courses I've ever seen. Just gorgeous. All the cypress trees are all over the place, and it was incredible.
I'm assuming this is a private club.
It is, but Pebble was great, but that was something else.
Okay.
I mean, that was
What about, was it Spyglass?
Spyglass. Yeah, Spanish Bay.
Spanish Bay?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
It was solid.
Yeah.
solid. No, it wasn't. I mean, that Cypress was next level.
I'm pretty much playing on the Muni.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm at the neighborhood course over by my house.
you got a good neighborhood course, though.
It's fun.
I'm sure you got the golf cart. You drive right to it.
Got
and-
my own golf cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So enjoyed coming out and watching the kids play basketball. I
that's
finally
right.
got to see Nicholas play and Leah play. I mean, y'all were dominating the team that y'all were playing.
Yeah.
And so, I was impressed.
I like how you came, and then the first lady came, and I love how the first lady texted me, you, and Lindsay a little scouting report. Like, just that was fantastic. Like, I like the way she did this. Not this. I was like, that's awesome.
She was impressed with Leah. She's at the front. I don't know what you call the front person on the full court press.
Yes.
But she was all up in their grills. And, y'all were putting the pressure on that team, and I was impressed. Both your kids, very good team players, very unselfish, great passers. Man,
Surprise, probably, weren't you?
My only suggestion was shoot more.
Yeah.
Get those kids shooting a little bit more. I like to shoot.
Yeah, I do. We've covered that many of times.
But
you know
I
what?
thought they were. I don't want to say unselfish to a fault because they were great team players, but they had a few open looks. I thought I obviously would have pulled the trigger.
Yeah, I think it's funny because when you're younger and you coach and you have every parent in the stands going, shoot, every time they touch the ball. Like, I couldn't go further the other direction. I'm like, shoot if you're open, but make the right decision. And so I got so frustrated with parents, and so the decision-making component of it. But yeah, both of my kids definitely, they could probably go be more aggressive. But like, Leah's a freshman on the varsity team, and she starts and plays a lot. And like, you're a freshman. No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
And I was
like
I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
too. I mean,
like,
she's a freshman, so she's got to.
She's got to earn her stripes and get her way in there. So she's done a good job. But most importantly, the team is 24-1. And again, March 6th, we go win our first state championship. We won our first state championship in football this year, and now we go March 6th.
So the boys won it last year, the
boys,
state championship.
Yeah.
Now it's the girls' turn.
Now it's the girls' turn, and the boys won in football. So
yeah, I didn't even stick around for the boys' varsity game.
It wasn't worth watching.
I knew it wouldn't be. But Nicholas is probably the largest JV basketball two-guard
you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, in the world.
He's big.
He's a big two-guard.
Yeah, Nicholas.
I mean, he could be the big man. I mean, he could be down low.
It's funny to watch him. It's funny to watch him because he for the first time this year he looks like a football player on the basketball court.
He does.
Like he's
got good handles.
He's gotten big. He's gotten thick. But yeah, hey, they're getting great coaching and up there, and they're getting great. They're getting loved on, and basketball is something probably that Nicholas will never play in the future. But like I love that he loves it. I mean, it's basketball season, and he's all in on basketball. Like that's how we used to do it, and I love that he's got that perspective.
The girls' coach, he was riding those girls pretty hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he called timeout within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah. They had 4 offensive rebounds in the first 30 seconds, Wes. They went.
Yeah, the other team.
He went timeout, and the gym got really quiet.
Oh,
and
man,
he was
you
like,
could hear him talking.
"What the freak are we doing?" And he went to, I loved every second. By the way, right before he called timeout, I was thinking, we need to call a timeout. This is ridiculous. 4 offensive rebounds. That's not acceptable. And
it's not how you wanted to start the game.
No, and he got in their butts. I loved it. He's very intense, which is good. He's going to hold you accountable. I love that, man. I think a lot of people raise their daughters it's funny. They want their sons to be really tough. And they're like, get up. You fall, get up. But the princess falls, and you're like, oh, come here, let me help you up. That ain't life, bro. That's not what's going to happen to your daughter. Your daughter is going to have to earn and work and grind and go through some tough things too to be successful. She's not just going to be taken care of because she's a girl. And so I appreciate the crap out of that for him, that he pushes them, he shows them, he makes them be disciplined. It's not
easy to do.
It's not.
I would have a hard time yelling at the girls.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, you got to hold them to a standard.
Yeah.
And I think that's, when we're raising our kids, we want to hold our daughters to a standard. Now you might not say it the same, but it's just like anything else. Not every kid receives it the same, and that's what I'm really learning with my kids is, I can't talk to them the same, and I got to do a better job of continuing to know the difference and approach things differently. And Leah and both of my kids don't like to be called out in front of people, and I used to do that all the time. And just as simple as, "Hey man, come here real quick," and saying something. And I think we learn our kids as we go. It's just like leadership. You don't lead people the same way at the church. Some people are different than others, and you plug in where you need to plug in. And I think that's the important part of coaching, period, is knowing the different individuals, telling them the why so they know the why, and then loving the mess out of them, loving on them, letting them know that even when I yell at you and when I hold you accountable, I still love you. And then you come back and you support them, But I think it's a fine line, like being a parent. It's the same thing, right? As a parent, you're walking a line sometimes that you're like, all right, do I want to fight this battle? Right? Because right now, is this the time? Am I planting my flag right here? And you're like, sometimes yes, sometimes no. So
you definitely learn to choose your battles.
Man, yeah.
And you learn the timing on those conversations. What's the best time to have them?
It's tough to raise kids, and they have access to more information than they have. And, they have not only do they have more access, it's easily accessible, right? It's also at the touch of their fingers, and it's in their hand, most of the time. Just go to a high school game and you'll see they don't go anywhere without their extra appendage, which is their phone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
marijuana's legal.
Yeah.
In a lot of states.
Yeah. You can get gummies, easily accessible. And listen, I mean, all those things are part of the world, and we have to raise our kids and talk to our kids in a way where they understand that. And, that's the hard part, I think, is because just like with Nicholas, and I've told y'all this, he's like, y'all are, he's starting to understand that we're strict about X, Y, and Z. And, and some of those things we've just needed to talk about and just have a discussion. Just like last night, there's a basketball game on, and he was like, was like, why aren't you're not watching? He's a diehard Magic fan. My son's a diehard Magic fan. I have no clue why. Well, I do. It's Paolo Banchero and Jonathan Isaac and those guys that he loves.
Jonathan Isaac was
fantastic,
super impressive.
If you didn't hear that on this podcast, you want to go back and listen to it.
A stud.
He's a stud. And he was like, I didn't. I was like, why aren't you watching the game? He's like, well, I didn't think I could watch it. Well, ask.
Why does he not think he could watch
I don't
a basketball
know.
game?
I'm like, dude, turn a basketball game on. Like, now listen, I'll tell him sometimes.
Y'all not let him watch TV?
Well, sometimes I'll tell him, like, dude, y'all got home. The TV was on for an hour. We did our work. Like, let's turn the TV off for a little bit. Like, I don't like the TV on all the time. I mean, I don't want that on all the time. That's a distraction a lot of times when we can talk and do things together, I think, sometimes. So, yes, I'll say that sometimes, but, like, just ask. Like, yes, you can watch the game. And then he was like, okay, can I watch it in the bedroom? In our bedroom, because I was out there writing up a speech. And so they were making fun of me anyways because I was like talking out loud during my like writing.
You're like
speech
practicing.
Yeah. You do that with your sermons, right?
Every week.
You read them out loud?
Yeah, I practice them and change them. And typically,
you can't be practicing them too much.
Trim them down. I usually have too much information, so I'll time it. And if it's over 30 minutes, I try to take something out.
So you're saying you're too smart? Yeah, you just got too.
No,
you're too wise. I have too much words. Too many good things to put in there.
I try to keep it simple with people.
Well, I'm learning how to do that now. By the way,
how to write a message.
Yeah, because I've always
You're great at the Q&As. Every time I've asked you to speak somewhere, you're like, "Hey, let's do a Q&A."
Q&A.
You ask me the question, and I'll answer it.
Well, I think that's twofold. Yes, it makes it easier, which is great, but I think also you get more interaction and you show more personality, which I think is good. But I'm doing a speaking engagement coming up in February, and I've already started like writing it out. And so now like kind of practicing because there's a hard out. And so, but
you think you could talk for an hour?
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah.
Joking.
Unfortunately for everyone else, yes. We could get that done. But to be able to transition and that's the part that, because you want to be yourself, I want to be myself, and it's kind of an open.
Are you talking about spiritual things?
Yeah, some of it, yes. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's very open ended. It's like, hey, just kind of tell your story and work in adversity. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that look like? And so I've wanted to. I'm wanting to spend a lot of time writing it up and like, okay, how does this work with my story and flow? And so I've started that component of it, and I've gone all over the place. And then, and this is, the beauty of this, I think, which is what we should. I think we should do this every day. I think we should read for X amount of minutes. I think we should pray for X amount of minutes, and not like a time limit, but I'm saying, and then I think we should write. Like, I think writing is important. It just unlocks something in your brain, and it makes you think about things, and you get a lot done when you just get a pen and pad and you just start writing. And so I think it's been therapeutic for that, because I could just write, and then, God will bring something to my attention and I'll write it down, but then putting it all together. But it just requires me getting very purposeful and still, and fighting my ADD, which is a fist fight. Like last night, I'm like, nah. And so I'll go eat, walk around, do something, come back, and then I got like an extra 5 minutes to 7 minutes, and all right, we got to stand up, go do something else.
Do you feel like there's certain times of the day that you're more productive?
100%. And I think that's why the morning routine, I think, is so important for people, because you wake up, you're alert, you're ready to rock and roll. You've got the most energy. You haven't used the most of your mental capacity. I think it's pretty proven, man. Like that. Like I've heard it described as, green, yellow, and red, like kind of like a stop sign or like a stoplight.
Yeah.
And you're, in that morning time, you're firing on green, like all systems go, very little clutter from the day before, like new thoughts, new energy, new ideas. And then you start to get in the yellow zone, and then you start to get in the red zone. Now I am a night owl, so I don't lose energy at night usually. I usually perk up a little bit at night. So I'm actually pretty good at night as well. But I think getting up and getting it done for most people is.
Yeah, for me, the morning time, I don't like to schedule any meetings in the mornings, because that's when I'm most creative, and that's when I have the best ideas.
What time do you get up?
6 o'clock.
Every morning?
I mean, typically.
Do you need an alarm anymore or no?
Yeah, I still have my alarm.
Just in case.
I'm not a great sleeper. Sometimes I'll be up late, but I still like to get up at 6, so I have plenty of time to do my quiet time, pray, and all that before I get into whatever it is I'm getting into. So
I got a buddy from Texas that I met not too long ago. He gets up at 3 o'clock every morning.
what does he do? Does he have a paper route?
No, he does not have a paper route. He's making really good money, and it's not in the paper route. He owns a real estate venture business and stuff, and does real estate at a high level. And but the biggest thing with him is he said my phone doesn't ring from 3 to 6.
Oh, okay.
And so I get a lot accomplished and a lot done, and I know I have 0 distractions. So he can get his quiet
He probably
time.
goes to bed at like 8 p.m.
I don't know if he does, but he gets a lot of his work done, which makes a lot of sense, by the way, because that phone starts ringing, and even when you're reading, like that's the thing about reading your Bible app, like the phone dings at the same time or vibrates at the same time.
That's
and
the
now
bad thing about doing it on the phone.
So now you see it, and it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
guys like me are like, well, squirrel, something shiny.
Yeah, I have to like if I'm in the zone. So like yesterday, I was writing a message, and I'm getting all these texts and all these phone calls, all these emails. But it's like, no, I got to get this done first before I look at any of that,
Or else it'll stunt the process,
yeah,
right?
And sometimes I need to break, and I'll go do some of that stuff. But I do think there's something like some people, like for me, I'm worthless in the afternoons, like late afternoon, like
Nap time?
it's workout time. That's like when I go do something active.
So you get in the sauna?
I lift weights, get in the sauna. Yeah, I've been lifting weights. I haven't done much cardio.
Cardio's
but
underrated.
I'm at my all-time high right now weight-wise. So Jennifer and I are getting, and I've told you about this before. I'm just so confused on what's healthy and what's not healthy. And like the other day, I woke up and I didn't know whether I should eat a banana or a protein bar. I didn't know which one was more healthy. I'm like, which one should I eat? I have no idea. And I've tried to get you to help me. Of course, you won't help me because you say I need to like write down everything I eat throughout the day before you're willing to help me. But that's just your excuse for not wanting to help me.
Well, because you're not helpable. You're a lost cause.
So
you eat a bag of chocolate-covered blueberries and you think it's healthy.
We got a new like Jennifer's tennis partner just sent us over a plan. And we're going to start following this. So I finally have a plan, and I'm sticking. I don't
What's
know
the plan?
I don't know what it's called.
So when does the plan start?
We're starting today or yesterday. Like I'm on.
So what's the plan?
Pal. It's basically a low carb type, no sugar, low carb, protein, meat, proteins, vegetables.
Wow. Sounds familiar. Sounds like something we've talked about for maybe the last 20 years.
But certain kinds of fruit, not all fruit.
Pastor J shows up to this show to get fitness advice.
I'm trying to get. I mean, he won't give it to me.
I mean, everything you've said has been told to you before. Like, what if that was a revelation, homeboy? Don't eat sugar. Don't eat candy. Your ice cream trips, your chocolate-covered blueberries, the crap we've talked about for years.
I think, and I was telling Jennifer that this morning because I've lost 5 pounds in the last 2 days. And I'm thinking just cutting the sugar out is going to be a huge step in the right direction.
God, I wish people could see me right now. Just
well,
like,
they can
no
see
crap.
if you're
That's
on
true,
if you're on YouTube.
Well, no crap, Sherlock. Like, I mean, we've literally had this conversation on this podcast since 2020. Like,
but I now have a list of what food I can eat. Like, how would you answer the question? Would you eat a banana or would you eat a protein bar? And
to start
Bear Bells
to start your day?
Yeah. And I'm already changing my mindset that I don't need energy because I already have energy. Because I used to believe I had to eat something to work out.
Crap.
But now I'm buying into it. I've already got, because I've ate a lot yesterday. So I have a lot of energy stored up, so I don't have to eat something to get the day going.
Yeah, listen.
But like I could have had a couple fried eggs this morning.
So you're already off the diet?
No, that's part of you can eat eggs.
Well, eggs are one of the best things for you.
You can eat eggs.
Yeah, eggs are great for you.
Are you telling me, you're telling me I can eat eggs?
No, but you're telling me about the plan, and you said a banana or a protein bar, and that was neither.
That was last week.
You said you started today.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That when I woke up last week, I didn't know whether to eat a banana or a protein bar.
Oh, okay. Well, so we're past that.
Which one would you choose?
I'd eat a protein bar. Okay. Like I think you need protein. Again, your body works off of protein, carbs, and fats. Like they all serve a different service to your body. Basically, they like think about it like a house. Like it's brick, it's mortar. It's the foundation. It's all, like carbs are good for your brain. Like that's why you need fruits. Carbs are great for energy. Like fats are essential and needed. Like back in the day when you were growing up, everything's fat free. Like you're right. Like now it's sugar free, and people are realizing like you need good fats. You need the avocados.
I drank whole milk growing up,
which is great for you. I mean, whole milk's great. There's nothing wrong with whole milk. But and then obviously you need protein to build muscle, and obviously it serves as energy and stuff too. But they all have a function. It's just a matter of you need more. Like you don't need the same amount of fat as you do protein, and the same amount of carbs, right? Like those, you need more protein and carbs, but the good carbs. Like the carbs you need are rice and oats and the stuff that's very digestible and it's very good. Like those are the things you want to consistently have. You don't want fries. Like eggs are a great source of fat. Like we've talked about a lot of this before, but whatever it takes for you to get it done, I'm all for it.
You're about to see a transformation in Pastor J. Let's get back to this message that you're giving, this talk you're preparing. What you said, it's about adversity.
Yeah.
Like what are some of your main themes, main stories?
Why are you trying to get in my message? This is my message. What are you talking about? You trying to help me write my message?
No, I just thought it might be interesting for the audience to hear what you're talking about.
Well, he mentioned, the guy who runs the company mentioned adversity a bunch. And so I think that's a consistent theme throughout my story. I think that, I'll start by just talking about growing up. And like, I grew up, loving football. Like football, obviously I've talked to you, like when I was 4 years old, my brother started playing football and I tackled everything in sight on the sidelines. Like I was all over the place. My parents said I was chomping at the bit till the next season when I could play. And I loved it. And I've told y'all about, like in 8th grade, I'll never forget when I was watching Brandi Chastain, win the World Cup in the U.S. And I will never forget on the broadcast, they said the athletes stopped drinking carbonation because it hurts their conditioning. That's the last time I ever touched a carbonated beverage in my life, like till this day. And so like I was willing to give up things along the way and to work really, really hard. But then my sophomore year, I didn't play varsity. I didn't play JV. And during that span, like I forgot about all the work. I faced a little bit of adversity when it got hard. What's the first inclination for most of us? It's to quit. And I'm like, I quit. And just like so thankful that when I met that adversity, I had someone that believed in me. And Eddie Shaddix was my high school defensive line coach. And again, I wasn't a great player, but Eddie, like he saw something in me that he believed in me before I believed in me. And when I lost my belief in myself, and he was like, hey, just come work out with me. Like, let's just go lift weights. We'll get pretty. We'll get curls for the girls. And I'm like, swank, bro.
That's
Let's
one of
do
your
it.
coaches?
Yeah, it's my coach, my D-line coach, because he could tell that I didn't want him to talk me out of it. And so I started going to the gym with him, and then I grew almost 6 inches, and I gained like 50 pounds, 60 pounds. And so like that off season was huge. Obviously, puberty grew, got strong, and football's a lot more fun when you're the hammer and not the nail. Like,
so you in 10th grade, you were on the team, but you were just on the sidelines. You weren't getting to play.
Yeah, I didn't play varsity, and I played a little bit of JV, but you only had so many quarters, and I was a backup on varsity, so I kind of like was there, but I wasn't and didn't get to play. So, needless to say, you get frustrated, and then
there's thousands of people listening to this who can relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, especially any kids out there too. Their sophomore year is always the hardest. I mean, you're not physically developed enough to play with juniors and seniors who are a year and 2 years older than you. You don't have the experience they have, and haven't made the mistakes and been underneath those fires. So it's really, really difficult. So that's where I'm starting, and obviously, everybody who's listening to this podcast, we'll get to broken neck, and we'll get to ESPN letting me go.
Yeah.
So Kelly Pollack doesn't get upset. And just kind of taste of adversity. Because I think a lot of people always look at your story and they're going to read your bio and they're going to introduce you and they're going to say 3-time All-American, first-round draft pick, college game day. And you're going to be like, well, let me tell you about some things that sucked. Because this is great, but this didn't come without a ton of failure and a ton of adversity and a ton of questions and a ton of fear at times and a ton of all the stuff that comes with anything that you're going to achieve that's great. There's going to be great adversity. And so I think that's probably going to be the main message What do you think, speechwriter? Is that good?
Well, when you were
Got any
talking
tweaks?
about that, it led me to think about King David. And before he faced Goliath, he first faced the lion, and he defeated the lion, and then he faced the bear, and he defeated the bear. And then that prepared him to face Goliath. And I was thinking about your life, some of these smaller adversity things. You and Lindsay are about to face your Goliath. I mean, this battling cancer is a lot more difficult than losing your job.
Yeah.
Or your career-ending injury.
100%.
Like this. But God has prepared your faith. He's prepared your journey. Even thinking about what your small group's been through over the last year and a half, they're all gonna be rally. I mean, everybody, like to your point, is poised for this.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a great step of faith, character building, and God's gonna have a great. You're gonna have a great testimony.
So
at
you
the
approve
end of this.
of the speech so far?
That sounds great.
What do I need to add in?
Sounds
Anything I
good.
need to add in or take away? Or you know what I've really figured out? Not through you, because you haven't done a great job of this pastoring our church. But stories stick, right? Like the stories stick, stories stay with people, stories do a really good job. And I think that's the hardest part, is always like, how do you weave it? Because I love when you weave in personal stories and family. And so I think, that is a big component of like, how do you tell your stories? And I, like when I got to Georgia, and like, I like to tell people this all the time too, there's so many things. I go from fullback to defensive tackle. And now my coach is telling me, I got to get off the ball quick. I got to take a short step. I got to have low pad level. I got to get my hands inside. I got to do all of these different things. Like, I'm drinking out of a fire hose, bro. Like, it's coming at you 9,000 miles an hour. And I'm like, all right, where can I start? Like, I got to start where I'm at. I got to use what I got, right? And I got to do what I can. And right now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be really quick and I take a short first step. And I'll never forget, I got our GA. I'm like, hey, man, like, just watch my first step. I'm not worried about all the others. I can't do all of those things yet. Like, but I can do this. And that's what we all need to understand. Like, I have big hopes, big dreams. I can't get there thinking I'm going to get them all right now. So how can I narrow it down and be like, all right, this is today's assignment. Like, I'm going to master this. And then once I master having a good base and getting off the ball quick, now I can master being really low. Then I can master my hands getting inside to control a guy. Like, and I think you need to work in some humor. Yeah.
And work in some funny stories, like maybe a Russ Tanner story.
Russell Thurston story.
Some funny story. If you had one in the NFL, something funny that happened. People like to hear inside stuff. And I think some of your stories, I don't know, I think about like Stitchcomb and them being mad at you, being the freshman who's going all out, and they're just kind of wanting to take it easy. I think that's kind of a funny story. I mean,
what about my wrestling story?
That is a great.
Is that appropriate?
100%.
Because you can't quit. Like,
yeah.
once you start something, you have to quit. My mom.
You definitely need to work in the wrestling story, and that's very memorable.
We can end it there actually today, but like, my mom, they talked me into being the fat kid. They had no fat kid to wrestle, so they needed a 275.
Like heavyweight.
Yeah, and I wasn't even close. I was like 215 at the most. I was, after a week, I was like, this sucks. And my mom was like, once you start something, you got to finish. And so I went through the whole season. And after the state championship match, I'll never forget, I threw my bag in the front seat and I said, Mom, Dad, next time I wrestle on a mat half naked, it won't be with a boy. So that's my wrestling story. I was like, nah, bro. I wanted to quit so bad. My parents made me stick with it, and actually.
And we know Kelly's listening, so Kelly, we love you.
Yeah,
you're awesome.
You're fantastic. Thank you,
best
Mother.
Mom ever.
I appreciate you looking out for that.
Actually, she said she wasn't going to listen, but I know she's listening.
She's going to listen.
Yeah,
her and Dad listen and watch on YouTube. That's our 2 views a month we get.
Lindsay and Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it.